Good afternoon, and welcome to today's boating industry webinar, How E-commerce Innovation Can Grow Your Dealer Channel Business. My name is Adam Quant, and I'm the Managing Editor for Boating Industry, and I will be your moderator for today's section. Today's webinar is presented by Epicor, an ERP solution provider with functionality for all aspects of the manufacturing process, dealer networks, and more. Our speakers for today's session will be Carrie Jordan, Epicor's Director of Product Management and Marketing, and Epicor Solutions Engineer, Robert Elba. Before I hand things over to them, I'd like to remind attendees that if you should have any questions during today's webinar, please submit them using the chat function and they will be addressed at the end of the session. I'd also like to remind attendees that a recording of today's webinar will be available on Boating Industries YouTube channel 24 hours after today's session concludes. With that, I'll hand things over to Carrie.
All right, great. Hey, everyone. Thank you, Adam. It's great to be here. I am really looking forward to sharing this with you all today. Welcome to our session. We're going to be exploring how e-commerce innovations can help grow your dealer channel business. This is really geared towards the boating manufacturers out there and their organizations within the networks of sales and service dealers. So thanks for joining us. If we have not yet met, just a brief word on who we are. So Epicor Software has been in business for about 45 years. We're a private company based in Austin, Texas, United States, with 4,000 employees, 20,000 customers worldwide, from small to large organizations, and they're mostly mid-size. Unlike others in our software category, we at Epicor are laser focused on providing enterprise business solutions that fit 6 industries. Not 60, but 6 really well, and one of which is manufacturing. And our Epicor dealer network portal, built on the e-commerce solutions for manufacturers, is what we're excited to share with you today because of the complex e-commerce related challenges that many of us face in our organizations every day, especially boat manufacturers and those within the industry. All right, so here's our agenda. We're going to be talking through, rethinking the dealer experience. What new challenges are dealers facing as they're working with manufacturing brands, and what can those brands do to improve that experience? We're going to talk through the Epicor Dealer Network Portal, the value that it creates for manufacturing organizations and their dealers. We'll provide a demo for you, and then we're going to go through some next steps where you can learn more. All right, so why are we here today discussing dealer networks? So many of you in your businesses are likely already experiencing this, but really what we're seeing is growing pressure on dealers to change the way they do business. This is similar to the pressure faced by more traditional retailers, due in large part to customer expectations. Those customer expectations are really driven by technology innovations that very often outpace the speed of business process innovation. So customers are looking for some of the things that you see here, right? Pleasant online experience, easy self-service, a great selection, rapid and convenient delivery on their terms, very often personalized offers. If I buy this, what else might I like? High quality in everything, especially customer experience and customer service. And then we're seeing a growing appreciation of transparency and visibility into the brand and their business, what their goals and what they're looking to achieve and how they're doing business and their business model. Interestingly, not only are customers, feeling this, but also dealers. Dealers have the same rising expectations of doing business, with the manufacturers that they work with. So let's go ahead and break this down and examine the details of the traditional dealer experience versus today's more modern dealer experience. So when we look on the left-hand side here, that traditional dealer experience, very often it's manual, right? And this continues to be fairly pervasive throughout the industry. And not just within the boating industry, but really we see this across manufacturing, where there is a network of dealers. Just thinking about 6 months ago, I went to a furniture dealer, and ordered a new couch, and it was very much like this, very manual transaction. So, a lot of those transactions being handled on paper, email, sometimes even fax or phone calling in. And of course, manual transactions we know often result in errors. Obscure processes. So, the customers in the showroom and the dealers kind of going back and forth, calling the brand, some negotiation going on where the customer is being kept in the dark, not, bringing forth that transparency aspect. Limited visibility into order status. This is getting to that point where customers and dealers, don't have that ability like you would expect, when you're on an e-commerce site, to be able to access account history, transaction history. And then this overall traditional experience does tend to be more expensive because of the manual process involved, especially when the relationship, worked so long on even doing one transaction, but then that relationship with the client is lost. Now, if we compare that to the modern dealer experience, it's much more technology driven. We're seeing these evolve with e-commerce innovations, which can happen very quickly. Leveraging automation, ensuring the accuracy, real-time availability, rapid delivery. So whatever information the dealer, the manufacturer is making available to the dealers to then make available to the customers is accurate in real time. Offering self-service is a part of the modern dealer experience. Being able to go into account history and access and work with the brand on their terms. And then this overall we're seeing is driving more customer loyalty and revenue by encouraging that brand preference through personalized service and ease of doing business, by being able to meet the customer where they want to be met. Imagine a dealer showing up with an iPad in hand rather than a clipboard or a piece of paper, right? So really being able to provide a much more visual experience. Now, your opportunity as a manufacturer with a network of dealers, what does that mean for you? So we believe that this means boat manufacturers with a network of dealers, has this unique opportunity to leverage e-commerce innovations to set the brand apart. Here's a data point I wanted to call out from the US B2B e-commerce market as reported by the analyst and research firm Forrester. Surprisingly, it's on track to reach $1.8 trillion by 2023. And it's funny, I earlier had a number for this, and I went back and checked, and Forrester increased it. So this is a number that continues to grow. It's kind of hard to keep track, but it's on a growth trajectory. It's pretty exciting. And that growth is really now largely driven by manufacturers and distributors. Now, of course, everybody is seeing this number, right? And so it's becoming a very, very crowded industry. And most dealers, as I'm sure you know, do represent multiple products, multiple brands from different manufacturers. And this puts that manufacturing brand at risk of going overlooked. So what manufacturing brands are looking to do is, to creatively, in a value-driven way, differentiate your brand to win. And Epicor is ready to help. We've been working with manufacturers for a long time, and we're looking to help you stand out and create value for your dealers and their customers as well. So we believe that by helping your dealers create a more modern dealer experience, one that they need to compete in the digital age, that this will compel them to position your brand over others. All right, so why create a fit for purpose dedicated portal for your dealers? Why create that modern online experience powered by e-commerce? Why create a dealer network portal? We do believe that this creates a powerful, simple, more centralized way to engage, to interact, and really to transact with your sales and service dealers through an online channel, to really help them offer your end customers a great experience. We see this modern online experience for dealers really to help them quickly configure, price, and quote orders, as well as manage service and warranty needs for products. And as the manufacturer, the value that you'd see is a simplified, centralized way to interact with them, to integrate and accelerate processes, to even gain insights into the end buyer behavior, which will help improve your product development initiatives, to better get to know your customers and how to serve them, and to improve dealer ramp, recruitment, and retention. This is all through differentiating your brand with this modern experience. For dealers, it really creates that modern experience that they expect when they're interacting with you. A one-click process to make buying easier, to reduce errors, to increase productivity, really to develop that partnership with the manufacturing brand. Overall focus on just, generally being an easier company to do business with. And if we dig a little bit deeper into what this modern portal might be able to do, you'll see this in the demo that Rob will share. But if I kind of walk through sort of the overview and what the sales professionals at your dealers and the service and warranty professionals may be able to do, through this easy to use portal. What it's doing is it's establishing this single thread of data that connects all transactions at the dealer with your back end ERP system, or that centralized location within your business where that single source of truth, all that account and financial information is stored. You do gain full visibility into the business, across the business, and frankly, just make it more enjoyable for your dealers to do business with you. And then, of course, to drive growth as the preferred and innovative brand. So for sales, for those sales professionals at the dealers, what does this look like? So it does provide the salespeople the ability to streamline the ordering process through a very nice branded website that's fast and easy to use. Imagine a dealer network portal that allows them to configure an order from really adding simple options to even highly custom products, depending on the manufacturing business model. They can view their specific price that the manufacturing brand has set. They can add margin according to their unique business practices if you allow them to, create a quote for the end customer, and even register a sale and add customer buyer details for a more accurate purchase history. And this is particularly useful if your organization tends to have extended quote cycles. So for services, this tool, would offer service professionals at the dealers that ability to oversee quotes and orders to really help close that deal, right? To support the sales professionals, as well as manage warranties, spare parts, and service requests after the sale. So if you would imagine that ability to review quotes and orders, really gain full account history and visibility, to be able to manage returns, to minimize that cost to the business, to register a customer's buyer warranty information, and then place service requests to the manufacturers, track status, and then, this is pretty exciting, to be able to search inventory and order spare parts based on that specific model of the product. All right, and you heard me mention even highly custom products, right? So this is where it can get really interesting. For those manufacturing brands that have highly, complex configured products, which of course many boats, are, simplifying how your dealers configure those complex products with an elegant, a feature-rich business-to-business product configurator embedded within the process could increase order accuracy and provide a more highly visual interface that would be tightly integrated within the transaction. And then, really that ability to take what is traditionally a clunky process and could potentially lead to, errors within the process, streamlining that, integrating it, and instead making a lasting impression through an innovative, branded experience that's easy to use, it follows e-commerce innovations, and is consistent with your website. All right, so let's take a look at the bigger picture. You might be thinking, where would a modern dealer experience fit within e-commerce? So, the dealer portal would be a powerful component to a digital strategy that would help enable omni-channel commerce. Now, omni-channel commerce means that ability to meet your customers, your dealers, suppliers, business partners, really anybody within your brand ecosystem, where they want to be met and when and how, in a way that you decide, right? You decide as the brand that in a way that is pragmatic and strategic for your business. So often, particularly within manufacturing and distribution companies, that ERP, the Enterprise Resource Planning System, is at the core, which you see in the center of the screen here, which is, that single source of truth that stores the critical transaction information about your business. It could be products, production, finance, customers, orders, stock levels, and more. And then also very common is to fold in that offline commerce. You see that on the left here, the traditional B2B customer experience, the store locations, the kiosks, the point of sale call centers. And then where this starts to evolve, if we look at omni-channel commerce as a whole, is that online aspect of commerce on the right-hand side, the e-commerce, where you pull through the core information from your ERP, that single source of truth, those offline commerce experiences to the online world for a great, consistent customer and dealer experience. You bring to life selected information, you choose it from within your back-end systems and bring them to life in an online web storefront. It can be online marketplaces as well, mobile strategy, social channels, etc. And really, Epicor, we want to enable this integrated approach for our customers, and that's why I'm excited to share with you today, to be able to link up the comprehensive e-commerce vision with solutions that make sense for the business, and including that dealer network portal to streamline the ordering process, service, and warranty needs. So you might have seen, the Epicor Commerce Connect on that other slide. So this is our e-commerce solution. And just, very briefly before we get to, a bit more information about Dealer Network Portal and you see the demo, I wanted to kind of explain this a bit. The Epicor Commerce Connect is our e-commerce solution. It does work with the world-leading Magento e-commerce platform to build very elegant, very modern websites. You may have heard of the Magento name. The Epicor solution is complete. We offer a comprehensive digital commerce solution, really from the services to get you up and running to the marketing program support. It's connected, fully integrated with the ERP solutions that Epicor offers to, again, bring that back office information to life for customers, for suppliers, and for dealers who expect that self-service access to account history. And it's customer proven. We do have a variety of customer sites, that are up and running, built on the Magento e-commerce platform and Epicor Commerce Connect. Okay, let's talk a bit about some of the benefits of the Dealer Network Portal. So what we've seen is a couple of benefits and values to the business for manufacturing brands. If we start on the left-hand side and go to the right, increasing accuracy, being able to eliminate errors within that order process, by automating and streamlining, fully connected processes from the back end to the online portal and vice versa. Driving out costs by eliminating some of those manual steps, improving operational efficiency, growing the dealer channel. Now this one's really exciting, and the main reason we wanted to talk with you today, because we've learned in working with our manufacturers who have built the dealer network portals, is that we've seen it increase dealer recruitment because they see the ability for their business to be able to leverage a more modern experience to better serve their customers. For the same reason, it increases dealer retention. They like leveraging it online. Dealer satisfaction, and then exclusivity, because they're able to better do business with that manufacturing brand, they choose that manufacturing brand more and more often. Now for the manufacturing brand, going over here to the right a bit further, improving business decisions. So being able to gain insights into the end buyer behavior to improve dealer performance, with better visibility into the buyer behavior. Again, it really is improving the business development and strategy for some of these products. And then promoting loyalty, being able to create those long-lasting, memorable customer and dealer experiences. And just before we get to the demo, I wanted to give you a brief look into one of our customers. So Rainier Industries has this great reputation for being a quality manufacturer of really cool things. So you might have seen them. They create several things. You can see this in the background here, shade products primarily, and you can imagine all the different uses for shades, and very custom solutions. So they needed a way to empower their dealers to work with customers in a modern way and then submit their orders in a way that's fast and accurate. So they have increased, you can see some of the benefits here, their online orders by over $12 million, and they're continuing to grow. They were able to cut out 2 days of customer lead time, and this is primarily because those orders that get submitted by the dealers, the information flows directly into the manufacturing shop floor. They were able to eliminate 13 manual data entry points to 0, and now they were able to streamline and improve the way that they deliver to their customers and faster and more accurate. They did see the increased dealer recruitment and retention because they like that modern experience they were able to pass on. And then they're building, greater market share and brand awareness through this more branded experience. All right, so with that, I am going to turn it over to Rob to go ahead and show a demo.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Okay, so I'm Rob Alba. I'm a solutions engineer with Epicor. Just to give you a little background about myself, I've been with Epicor for 21 years now, and also was a user of the product prior to that, the beginning of my career back in 1998 with Epicor. And in the time I've been with Epicor, I've had the pleasure of working with many different boat manufacturers and providing our solution from both the consulting side as well as the pre-sale side. And in my experience during that time, many boat manufacturers specifically that I've worked with are relying on, antiquated, very manual types of tool sets when it comes to their relationships with their dealers. So in many cases, it was very popular that they'd be using a spreadsheet that has a lot of formulas and cells in there to, configure a boat, and then they would take that and maybe email it into the manufacturer, and there was potentially a lot of room for error there, and a lot of back and forth, a lot of emails, going back and forth because, there's a great deal of revision going on during the sales cycle with an end customer. So, and I've even seen, really as simple as paper, literally paper being faxed and emailed back and forth. So that's a very inefficient and very mistake-prone process. So that's why we're bringing, to you the dealer portal today, dealer network portal. And that's what you're looking at right now. So we're going to go into a live demonstration where I'm going to play both the role of the dealership as well as the manufacturer. So I'll be moving back and forth during the transaction process between Dealer Network Portal and the Epicor 10 platform. Okay, so our dealer portal is a component of our Epicor Commerce Connect offering. It is built on the Magento platform, which is the world-leading, e-commerce site or platform technology. What I'm showing you here is, of course, on my desktop, but, it doesn't really matter as far as deployment is concerned, of course, because we're coming in through the web. So this could be deployed, on a tablet or anything like that, which is a very pleasant user experience for the dealer as well as the end user or end customer that's going to be working with that dealership. Okay, so again, what we're going to be able to do, as Carrie mentioned earlier, is quite a few different things here. First off, we can brand our website to look and feel however we want. Again, this particular one is focusing towards the marine industry, so that would explain what you're looking at here. But it can be, really set up however you want. And again, it's not just specific to just the boating industry, but that is one of our premier targets. Okay, so in here, once I'm in here, I can actually get in and I can, view the different model offerings that I might sell. We can access, existing information as well as process transactions within this portal. So, if I need to look at prior quotes or prior orders, or if I need to look up inventory, whether that's inventory, at the dealership or maybe actually owned by my customers, I want to see, when inventory is out there in the field and be able to access warranty information, history, ownership history, location history, and so on, as well as the as-built version of the product that we provided to our end customer. So, if that end customer comes back to the dealership at some point and says, hey, I need to, buy a replacement part, you'll be able to do so and engage with the manufacturer back and forth and understand exactly what component went into the boat to begin with, so that, for example, if it's to be replaced, we want to make sure, if it's a 5 or 10-year-old part, we want to make sure we're replacing the proper part. So we'll be able to, again, have access to the existing, or the as-built, I should say, bill of materials, as well as any additions or modifications that might have been made throughout the history of that product. And of course, we also want the ability to process claims for the dealership, to be able to process a claim and request replacement parts or get credit for labor that might be applied during the process of processing that claim, and so on. Okay, so with limited time, I want to dive right in so you can actually see how this all works. So what we're going to do is start off by processing a quote. So the dealership working with the end customer, asking for a new boat, and they want to be able to configure that boat. And I'll talk more about our product configurator while I go through that process. To get very specific into models and features and options. And we'll take that quote and we'll process that into an order. So let's start off by drilling into the quotes area. I'm already logged in as the dealership, so it understands who I am. Actually, let me come back to my account information here so you can just see that. So, if this is the dealer and they come in and they log in, they'll be able to access their contact information, of course, all the different shipping addresses that might be associated with that dealer, as well as the billing address and so on. And again, access to the entire system as far as all the account information for that dealership. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start up by adding a new quote. Okay, and again, it's going to retrieve the dealership information. So, who's the sold to, ship to, and we can alternate that if necessary, if we need it to ship to another location. But first, we're going to go ahead by selecting a required date. So we'll go push this out a little bit and say, well, it's a pretty aggressive date, but we want this by 4/12. Okay, and then we're going to associate it to just a reference. So I'm going to say that, we're going to sell a boat to Carrie. And then down here, if need be, we can add contacts to this as far as the dealership is concerned. And then finally, we need to go ahead and add the specific line information to the quote itself. So I can do this in several different ways. I can go ahead and add by search. So we have a search capability, of course, to look up any particular model of boat we might want to sell, or we can maybe just clone existing items and so on. But I'm just going to do a quick add here. And what we're going to do is use my famous wavy rider example. All right, and we're going to quote one of those, and then we'll just add that line to that quote. Now, what we're seeing here is this is a configurable product, of course. There's going to be many different features and options since it is a boat. So we're leveraging the Epicor product configurator, which, by the way, is an embedded tool set. And what I mean by embedded is versus integrated. So it's an embedded tool set. It's part of our software. It's part of the manufacturing package. It is not a third-party integration. And that's very important because when it comes to integrations can get out of sync with, between each other, whether it be the manufacturing product or the configurator itself. We want to make sure that when there's upgrades to one system or another, we don't get into a situation where the integration can break. So that gives us the ability to build an embedded configurator within the tool set and then push it out to the dealer network portal. Okay, so when I go and configure this quote, we're presented with the configurator input screen, or these are the questions that we're going to ask the dealership and the end user. Now, again, this can be pretty much skinned or styled however you like. This is a fairly basic example, but it is dynamic. As opposed to, again, earlier talking about, maybe paper checklists or spreadsheets that don't have dynamic restrictions in them. So I might be able to select features and options for a particular model that don't make sense or are not offered. So what this does is control that process. So the first thing I would need to do is maybe select the type of activity or the type of boat that I'm looking to buy. Okay, so if I pick family and leisure, I've got certain models that are available down here. And as I drill further, that's going to control the options as far as colors, as far as the different engine options that are available, and so on. So again, it's going to be very specific to what options or models we select. So I'm just going to go grab one here. And we're going to start seeing that it's going to start building up the price. So it tells us, what the base model price is and what the total price is. And as I add additional features and options, I'm going to say I want the Tamarack deck color. And let's go for the big boy, 175 twins there. And let's go ahead and add a fish finder and maybe a sound system. Maybe I want to add the trailer as well, things like that. And as I add those features and options, we'll see those added to the breakdown. So basically a window sticker type of approach here. So what's the model or base model cost? What's the cost of the fish finder? What's the cost of the sound system? All coming down to a total price. Now again, this is a fairly basic example, but Many boat manufacturers, of course, have a build-a-boat, quote-unquote, version on their websites. And those are usually pretty elaborate, and there's a lot of image layering so that, you know, if I pick a particular model and then I want to pick all the different specific colors of cushions and, you know, deck colors and hull colors and all the different types of deck colors and sections and so on, that can be accommodated through this type of tool set. So we can get a very, very, you know, friendly user experience out there as far as what the dealer and the end user would see. So now that we've gone ahead and configured that, it has populated the total price for me. So I can see that, you know, the price to the customer, the end customer, is going to be $21,745. Now I'm going to just quickly save and continue here. And what we're going to see is that this is a tight integration with our Epicor 10 product, so it's going to immediately create a quote on the Epicor side. So once this returns, once it's done saving, it will return a quote number for us, and then we'll go flip over and take a look at that record on the Epicor side, on the ERP side. First, what I want to do is also point out that, you know, I might be working, you know, as a dealer, sitting with my customer at the desk. And that's what I want them to see. But I also potentially might want to see, well, what is the manufacturer's price? So if I go ahead and flip this little icon here, it will show me the manufacturer's price to the dealer as well as the customer price, and it will tell me my margin. So now if I'm worried about losing this customer, I might have to throw some incentives at them. I can go ahead and offer a discount here, whether it be a flat amount or a percentage. So I'll just go ahead and say, let's give them a $1,500 holiday discount or something like that so they can have their boat for the 4th of July or something to that effect. And you can see that difference and as well as the margin that we're still making on that boat. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that and pass that on through. Now, just take note here that the two options I've got available here are duplicate and save and continue. So now I can continually modify this quote, reconfigure it if necessary. Sometimes it's a very long decision process, especially when we're talking about yachts and larger boats. There's quite a bit of detail to go through. But for now, what we'll do is we'll come over to the Epicor side. Now, I've already got the quote entry screen open. And I'll just type in that quote number, and we'll see all of the specifics have been created on the Epicor 10 side. So here's my header information filled in, my line information, my pricing, and so forth. Now, most importantly, though, if I were to drill into the line tab, and we take a look at the dealer info tab, this is very specifically tied to the dealer network portal. So I've got a lot of information coming into the system, which is specific to that quote, so I can see what the end customer price, for example, is here versus the MSRP. So we can see that they've offered them a discount. I can also take a look at the attributes here. So what we can do here is collect specific features and options and attributes about that quote and store that in the system. So again, as Carrie mentioned earlier, to really understand, you know, the behavior out there, what are our, you know, customers, our end customers ordering? What types of features are popular? What types of features are not popular? So we can kind of use that from a marketing perspective and building out our new model year boats. So to finalize this quote, what I'm going to do is jump to the header tab and say, all right, everything's good to go. Now, there could have been some further configuration and so on, but we're just going to move it along for time's sake. So I'm going to mark it as quoted and say that we're basically confirming that and make it web ready. And that web ready flag is the most important part because that's what will put it out to the dealer portal. So what I'll do is come back to the dealer network portal, refresh that screen, and what you'll see is I now have the option to confirm and or reject that quote. So if there was some manipulation of the pricing or the features and options and so on, you know, that might have affected the price and it might affect the end customer's decision. So we have that option at this point. Now, the communication back and forth can be, you know, a multitude of things. You know, to alert somebody that there's a new quote inside of Epicor. It could have been an email, could be a dashboard that somebody's watching as far as, hey, there's a new record in the system. And the same being for when we approve that quote and send it back out to the dealership. Again, a lot of capability as far as alerts and workflows and so on. So now what we'll do here is just say good to go. So we're going to confirm that quote. And what that will do on the Epicor side is if I come back to this record and refresh that, we'll note that it has been converted from a lead to a quote, and it will also mark that quote as one. Additionally, again, all about leaning out the process and reducing the, you know, duplication of transactions and keystrokes. If I were to go to the line tab here, What it automatically did for me was create a sales order. Again, I'm in the manufacturing side here. So we can see that, well, if that quote was confirmed, then we certainly would want to place an order. And so this will carry this through the rest of the process. From there, we'll create work orders and or jobs in the manufacturing side to go ahead and build that boat. And it will be based very specifically on that configuration, because our product configurator will not only go ahead and price everything for me and select all the features and options, but it will build out a customized method of manufacturing, which includes both operation steps as well as materials that are required for that. Okay, coming back to the dealer network portal side, if I were to go into the orders tab here, what we'll see is a brand new order has been created for that particular quote. So again, everything is very tightly synced up and integrated so that we are eliminating excessive transactions and manual keystrokes and the opportunity for error. So again, back to Carrie's points earlier, we're driving down costs because we're leaning out the process. We're eliminating mistakes and the potential for mistakes. Okay, so what we're going to cover next is to talk about the inventory tab here. So what this will show is I've only got 2 records here, but you will see any transactions that have occurred from an inventory perspective. So this represents any boats that might be literally on the dealership's lot, or any boats that might have already been sold to customers. Now, there's a lot of search capability and filtering capability so that we can figure out, which one is it that we're looking for. And this may be, a customer might be inquiring about a warranty claim, and this might be where I start the process to determine, is that still under warranty or not? Or, I might also want to look and see what was the as-built version of that boat, what components are in that boat. So I'm going to just do a search here on my identification number. Now, we certainly can support the ability to create hull IDs, which are of course very prevalent in the boating industry, or VINs, or vehicle identification numbers. And there is embedded technology as far as how to construct and create those automatically within Epicor, so that you don't have to, manually create those records. So we'll be able to always access that any inventory based on these records or based on these ID numbers. So I'm going to just search out my 0K80. I can do it on a portion of an ID number, a whole ID number, or the whole entire ID number, but that will filter down the list. And again, I can filter it down on any of these other criteria, as well as additional criteria that can be added as well. So if I were to drill into that particular boat, what I will see is the location address, so I can see that that's sitting actually at a marina. The sold to was, of course, the dealership, and the owner is Ed Warner. Now that's his home address. So we can have all those different, addresses stored in the system, so we can tell, what the history is. And then down here we can see some specifics regarding that. So again, to that particular hull ID, we'll see the order that it was ordered on. We'll see the warranty, and we'll see the actual warranty status. So this isn't going to expire until 2020. So if they are going to place a warranty claim, we know that they're within that warranty period. And some other specifics such as, colors and engine options and so on. So we're basically displaying the attributes here. And then a complete transaction history, right from the, the initial quote all the way through, through ownership changes and or location changes of that particular boat. And we can update that at any given time. So we can do that via the update information button here. We can go ahead and either update the location address and say, the boat is physically moved from one place to another, or it has changed ownership, and then therefore that would require a potential warranty registration or warranty transfer. Under the bill of materials icon here, what we'll be able to see is what exactly went into that boat. I can see here that the fish finder was selected, the sound system, and the specific engines that were selected, and so on, as well as additions and replacements. So again, if someone were to say, I want to add an option or a feature during any time of the life cycle of that particular boat, that can be transacted and recorded and stored for history. So again, if there's any existing items that need to be fixed or replaced, we know what they were, as well as anything that's been added to that particular boat. Again, from a version perspective, if I have a bilge pump fail on me, I want to know that that manufacturer is going to send that dealership the proper pump, not a pump for the latest model, a pump for the model I bought and the year that I bought it. Okay. So the next piece we'll cover here in that aspect is warranty claims. So we want the ability to give the dealership to process claims. So I'll do a claim here, and I'll say that, you know, the owner came to the dealership and had a problem with their bilge pump. So we'll add a new claim to the system. And again, here is the ability to either look up the inventory based on either a serial number or a hull identification number. I'll pick the hull identification number, and I'm not going to type in that whole long string, so I'm just going to type in the beginning portion of that identification number so that I can hone this down. But you can get very specific and type that exact hull ID in to go ahead and search for that. So I'm going to go process a claim against that particular boat. And as we scroll down, you'll see it'll pull in, you know, all the product codes and everything that we need to know about it. And we'll say we had a bilge pump failure. That's a dangerous thing, especially for boat owners. And then what we want to do is go ahead and add a quote or request a quote for the replacement pump, as well as maybe the labor that might need to be applied to replace that pump. When do they want it? We're going to say that's today. We can, of course, set any given date. And we'll say, again, well, that was Carrie's boat. So sad that she just bought it and has an issue here. But we'll go ahead and, again, we can add these line items however we want, whether it be by searching the database or, you know, cloning existing items or records. But we'll just do a quick add here. So I'm going to type in a search here for a pump, and we're going to go grab my system pump or my bilge pump. We want one of those. And I also want to, oops, sorry about that, add the labor in here. So I've got a code here that I can type in labor, and we can either maybe base this on an hourly rate. So we might estimate that it takes 10 hours or 15 hours to replace that, or we can set up a standard, you know, in this case, pump replacement value. So if I say that's going to be 1, it'll come along with a fixed value that we can define. So now I need to add those lines to the quote. Okay, so I've got the pump, the bilge pump replacement at a price of $245, but we may have already determined, you know, that we're not going to charge them that when we get to the manufacturing side. But what you can do is define the return type as either a replacement or a credit, and I'll show you how that works when, again, we get over to the Epicor manufacturing side. In this case, the labor is just going to be based on a credit. Okay, we can also additionally add attachments, you know, to the claim. So I might want to say that, you know, I took a picture of that pump, so I'll add an attachment here. We'll choose a file, and we'll just grab a picture of a damaged bilge pump, and we want that to be processed through as well. So I want the manufacturer to see what actually occurred. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that particular claim. And again, just like the quote, what it's doing is it's communicating directly with Epicor, and it's creating a new claim record, and it's also creating a quote, and I'll show you that as well. And it returned back a claim number for us. Okay, so if I flip over to the Epicor side, go into claims management, and type in that claim number, we'll see, again, immediately created a new record. It recorded all of the information from that record. So we're seeing that from Jim Nelson, you know, on this particular date at this particular time, he had a bilge pump failure with one of his customers. And we were going to collect a full description of that. We can go ahead and associate, you know, particular contacts to that. So I want to say that actually was Jim Nelson. We can even manage workflows. So, you know, you can have tasks and task sets as far as how we want to work this through the system. So it'll actually hit particular people that may need to manage this. We could also capture topic strings from, you know, historical analysis perspective. We may say, okay, we want to be able to track which ones were warranty claims and which ones were related to pump repairs and so on. So you can build out these topic links to go ahead and track that type of information so you can see exactly what's happening out there in the field. And again, under the dealer info tab, what we will see is the quote that it created. We'll also see that whole identification number and also some comments. Now I can have a communication back and forth with the dealership through these comments. So I might want to say, need more information. What happened to the pump? Why did it fail? And go ahead and save that record. So again, very seamless, immediate communication. All I have to do is come back to the dealer network portal to see the results of that communication. Here it is. Need more information? What happened to the pump? So the dealer can say, screen clogged, it overheated. whatever. The point being that the communication is live and it is real time. So when I come back to case entry here and refresh that record, you'll see that communication from Jim Nelson explaining exactly what happened. So eliminating, emails, and emails aren't bad, but what is bad about emails is it's outside of the ERP system. So we can communicate directly here and see what's happening. Again, we have the ability to drill anywhere in Epicor. So if I want to see more about that particular identification number, again, from the manufacturer's side of things here, I'll be able to come in and see everything I need to know about that particular boat. So again, here's the warranty status. I can see that it is still in effect, so I am going to not charge that dealership for that pump, and I'm certainly going to credit them the labor. I can also retrieve all of the history from any perspective, whether it be I need to look at that specific order, or I need to look at the packing slip, or maybe even the job. And that capability to drill down all the way to the job that was actually built on will give me the complete as-built history. So as I drill into that job, I'll be able to see specifically all the transactions that occurred against that job. So if I want to go and look at the materials, I can go ahead and see the engine that was issued to that, and I can actually drill all the way down into the material transactions. So if I need to know, again, what version was sent or built into that boat and sent to the end customer, I can do so and retrieve that all the way even back to the supplier. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do is come out of here. Oh, by the way, also you can see the transfer history. So again, ownership transfer, location transfer, and so on. I can see all the parts that were shipped within that. So this is just another view that's kind of summarized from the job that it was built on. I can see any serial numbers that were included, lot numbers, replacement parts, and so on. So again, there's that replacement I showed earlier where the end customer replaced the sound system. Okay, now let's drill into this quote. So I'm going to right click here and drill it back into quote entry. Okay, and we'll see on this quote that was created again from the dealer network portal side that there are two lines on that quote. Again, one for the pump, one for the labor. So if we drill into the pump information here and we go to the dealer info tab, we'll see that again, the return type was standard. So in this case, like I mentioned, we certainly don't want to charge that dealership for that pump because it is still under warranty. We'll say that we'll take and eat that failure. So what will happen is we will create a sales order to go ahead and ship a new pump out to that particular dealership. And then on the labor side, again, we're going to handle that as a credit. So we're going to credit them back $125 for the labor to replace that failed pump. To do so, all I need to do is come up here to the quote menu, and if I come down here, I can see that I can create a sales order. Now, there's two lines on that quote, but it understands that since one's a credit, only one of those lines is order worthy, we like to call it. And all I have to do is create a new sales order. So there it is, just by clicking that button. So what it did was it carried over all the information from the quote, created a brand new sales order record, and I can see that right there. So again, from a replenish, or should I say a fulfillment perspective, now all somebody has to do is go ahead and pick that pump out of inventory and go ship it to that dealership. From the finance perspective, we want to go ahead and issue a credit, and I can do so all right from this particular screen. I don't have to do this on the finance side, although it does not have to be done from here. It could be done on the finance side. Excuse me, accounts receivable can go pick up the fact that there's a credit memo that needs to be generated, but we can actually push that credit memo out. So here we can see we're doing a credit for that labor for that pump for $125. All we need to do is go ahead and click that Create Credit Memo button, and the system will go ahead and create that record and confirm back to me that it has in fact created a credit memo. So again, another example of completely leaning out the process. We don't have to rekey information. We're taking a lot of duplication out of the process. So there it is, new invoice created, which is a credit memo type of invoice for that particular item. Okay, we cover certainly a lot of information in a very short period of time, but again, I just want to reiterate that this is a product that can greatly eliminate extra steps in the process, manual steps, emails, have the ability to store everything in the system for retrieval and analysis and metrics and so on. So with that being said, that's about all I have to show, at least for today's demonstration. So why don't we open it up for questions?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rob. If you go ahead and pass back to me, I will show how everyone can get in contact with us if they have questions. While you all are, compiling those questions, please do go ahead and send them through the chat. And we'd love to address some of those. If you want to get in touch with us, you prefer to not have questions, discussed right now, or you want to share this with your colleagues, I do invite you to go ahead and email us. So my email is here, kerry.jordan@epicor.com. Rob's is here as well, ralba@epicor.com. And if you would like to do a little bit of, research on, your own time, please do go ahead and visit epicor.com. When you visit epicor.com, check out the information there for manufacturers. Check out the e-commerce solutions that are available, and that's where you'll see more information about the dealer network portal. If you already know, who your Epicor sales representative is, go ahead and contact that person, or there are ways to get in touch through our website. And again, our emails are there, so we would really enjoy hearing from you all. All right, so with that, I am going to turn it back over to Adam so he can help manage our questions and answers.
Thanks, Carrie and Rob. We do have a few questions already. Pull this up real quick. Is the configurator integrated with Epicor ERP via an API?
The answer is no. It is directly embedded versus integrated. So again, it's part of the native code of the system. And as I mentioned, of course, integrations can get out of sync when one side or the other, upgrades their version. So that doesn't exist. That doesn't happen. There's some other really, really great benefits in that since it is embedded, it can talk to the Epicor system very fluidly. So it can write to any of the records. So we have complete control over writing information to quote records, job records, sales order records, even purchase order records if you're in a multi-company environment. So in other words, if I were to configure something in company A, that's my sales company. Company B may be the manufacturing company. We can pass that through a multi-company PO to that site. Additionally, a particular example I always like to talk to, which really explains this well, I think, is that, if I wanted to write a specific, custom pricing rule, and that pricing rule might be based on, say, the dealer status with my business, whether it's gold, silver, platinum type of thing. We can, using a standard tool set within Epicor, add a user-defined field for a custom classification to address that. But since the configurator is embedded, we can now reach out to that field, or any field for that matter within the system, and say, all right, this custom pricing rule is going to be offering certain discounts based on the gold, silver, platinum status, and so on. So again, it's very embedded. It's not an integration. That's a common case out there, where if I wanted to do something like what I just explained, it could not be done by you. You would have to reach out to your software provider to have them assist you in building that integration, to build all the connectors out. So it's a single database, single source of information versus two separate databases that continually have to be synchronized. Long answer to a short question, but I hope that got the point across.
Another question is, how many boat manufacturers are currently using this package?
And Carrie, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So this is a newer solution. We do have a few customers who have sort of dove in with us on this. It's really exciting to see the benefits that they are creating. So it is a growing use across the e-commerce customer base, I would say there's probably about 60 or so, probably more, as you know, I'm thinking about those who are, you know, currently implementing. So certainly a growing base. I should take this opportunity to mention we do have our big customer conference coming up. If you are interested in talking to any of those customers, you know, who are leveraging the Epicor e-commerce solutions, or really any of the Epicor solutions, that is called our Insights Conference. It's in Las Vegas in mid-April. If you are interested, please do reach out to us and we'd be happy to pass along information. Again, it's that Insights Conference.
I think I'd like to add a clarification to that. Carrie was talking specifically about Commerce Connect and the dealer portal. If the question was referring to the package being Epicor, there's quite a few more customers out there.
That's a great point, Rob. Thank you. I probably mentioned up front, we've got about 20,000 customers worldwide.
Thank you. We do have another one. If the person already has inventory or a sales platform, can all of the information be imported into that package?
And the answer is yes. There is the ability to add the inventory from the dealer portal itself. I'm not sharing, so I can't show you that, but you can add existing inventory. But there's also the ability, we have what's called a data management tool set, and that data management tool set is used to initially populate the ERP system with existing data. But it can also actually be used to maintain data. So, you know, for an ongoing basis, it will give you the ability to maybe populate additional fields based on the status of your implementation. You know, right out of the gate, for phase one, you want to get the bare basics out or into the system, but throughout the implementation, as you start onboarding more modules and functionality, sometimes you want to actually add data or modify data. And the nice part about that data management tool set is that it respects our business logic. It's our tool set and was built for that purpose. So you can't add data and skip triggers for the technical people that might be on the line, you know, and potentially corrupt the system. It's not possible with that tool set. So it's a very user-friendly, it's a very customer-friendly from our, you know, our customer's perspective, very friendly tool set, and it's very safe.
As a follow-up with that, if their website is already on WordPress, is it possible to switch that over to Magento?
I don't know the answer to that one. So Magento does, and one of the beauties of it is because it's so popular, it has a great user base of innovations that, like, sort of a marketplace that you can tap into. Because WordPress is so popular, I imagine there would be a way that Magento eases that transition, and that's something we can definitely look into.
Yeah, we can certainly do a follow-up.
And final question, is middleware such as Redback used?
I'm not familiar with that, but it's not necessary in this case between Magento and the Epicor integration. It's a direct integration. It's you know, the Magento portion or the commerce portion was built more from the Epicor side out, so it's a direct tie-in to Epicor, if that answers the question.
Thank you, and that should wrap up all of our questions. Don't forget, if you wish to access this webinar at a later date, the recording will be available on Boating Industries' YouTube channel 24 hours after this session ends. And for more information on Epicor, please visit www.epicor.com. Thank you to both our speakers and attendees for attending today's webinar, and hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.